This is David with The Verge, and this is the Microsoft Surface 2. It's a tablet, but it's also kind of a laptop. It's for watching movies and reading books, but it's also kind of for getting real work done. It's $449, it runs Windows 8.1, and more than ever, it's competing head-on with the iPad. Microsoft learned a lot of hard lessons about the Surface last year, and the Surface 2 tries to address them point by point. A low-res screen like the Surface's doesn't work on a tablet, so the Surface 2 has a beautiful 10.6-inch 1920 by 1080 display with gorgeous colors, incredible viewing angles, and awesome multi-touch capabilities. Last year's model was heavy and cumbersome to hold and use, so Microsoft slimmed it down. It's a little thinner and a little lighter, though it's still so wide that it's kind of awkward to hold in either orientation. It's a beautiful device in a new silver color, really well made and cleanly designed, but it's still best used in landscape and on a desk. Whether you use it on your desk or on your lap, though, the Surface 2 is much easier to operate. The kickstand on the back, once propped at an awkwardly upright angle, now tilts to a second angle, and that second angle is just about where I'd put it anyway. It makes the Surface 2 much sturdier on your lap and a little easier to use on a desk since you don't have to crouch down so much to see it head on. There are tweaks like this everywhere. There's now a USB 3.0 port, the speakers seem a little better, and everything's just a little trimmer, except for one really awkward seam on the back where the plastic strip connects to the otherwise unibody design. It's a much better media machine than ever, a great way to watch Netflix movies. But frankly, the iPad's still better for that. And that's not what the Surface 2 is for anyway. The Surface 2 is designed to be for everything. That's why it comes with Windows 8.1, even though it's not the full Pro version that's compatible with your legacy desktop apps. That's also why it comes with Office and now Outlook pre-installed. And really, the key to the whole productivity idea is the touch and type covers, which have been updated slightly this year as well. The type cover is easily the best accessory. It has a tiny, fabric-y trackpad, but a really great, clicky keyboard, and this year the keys are even backlit. In a lot of ways, the Surface 2 is most productive when you plug in a mouse and keyboard, and that does kind of defeat the whole point. But when you're using the desktop-optimized Office apps, or trying to navigate all the Windows elements that come in tiny on such a high-res screen, you'll want a mouse and keyboard. The type cover is by far the best available option, and it comes in a bunch of great-looking colors, too. The smaller black touch cover is easier to use as well, though without any clicky keys, it's still not as good an experience. Even more than the iPad, the Surface 2 is designed to replace most of the things your laptop can do. And everything the Surface 2 does, it does just amazingly better than last year. Microsoft upgraded from a dual-core Tegra 3 processor to a quad-core Tegra 4, along with 2 gigs of RAM, and I can't describe how much better it is to use this device. It's still a smartphone-level processor, but everything happens so much faster, so much smoother. Games do occasionally still stutter and lag, and HD video and Internet Explorer can be choppy, especially when you're multitasking. But the last Surface had problems scrolling, it had problems with apps crashing, and the whole thing started to bog down as soon as you had more than a few apps open. Here, those problems are gone. Battery life is about the same as last year, even with a higher res screen and those big performance improvements. I always got a full day of heavy use before it ever died. The problem, though, is that the Surface 2 can't do everything. It just doesn't have the apps. The Windows Store is growing, and apps like Facebook and Flipboard are a great step in the right direction, but it's still a long way behind, and it can't rely on desktop apps like the Surface Pro 2 can. Here, you're stuck with the store, and that's just not great. The Surface 2 is a great device for reading, but there's no Pocket or Instapaper, just worse third-party alternatives. Same for Instagram, Rdio, even really cross-platform apps like Wunderlist. You can replace some of those apps in a browser, but they're never as good or as easy to use. Being able to multitask and put 2 apps side by side while you work is really nice, but Microsoft has the same problem that Amazon does. If you use Xbox Music and SkyDrive and Office and Outlook.com and Skype and OneNote, you're golden. Otherwise, there's a really good chance there will be more than a few critical apps you won't find in the Windows Store. And even while Microsoft builds its offering of existing apps, new ones don't ever seem to come to the platform at first. Using a Surface 2 is lonely in a way. iPad and Android users are getting a steady stream of cool new apps, while the Surface slowly builds a back catalog. And that, above everything else, is why the Surface 2 still falls short. Microsoft's done basically everything it can with the hardware, but it can't solve the app problem by itself. The Surface 2 is a great way to watch movies or listen to music, but the iPad's better. It's a decent office machine, but it really needs a mouse and keyboard, or a more touch-optimized app, to be great. And even then, that's not worth $449. I still like what Microsoft is trying to do, and with both hardware tweaks and some of the new changes in Windows 8.1, it's inching in the direction of becoming a device that works well as both laptop and tablet. Right now, though, in both cases, it still falls short.